Oh, let's go. Let's go. Get a little bit more. There we go. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Now let's start posting this everywhere. Um, I feel like my keyboard off, probably because I haven't used it in a while. Let's see. So let's say automatically. I'm setting it up. Cracking y'all's cracking. We're gonna get this motion. Get this in motion ASAP. ASAP. Let's see. Let's see. We can get y'all in here. Y'all know it's cracking. Y'all know how we get down. Put everything in the chat. I do not have my normal setup, so you're not gonna see all the widgets and flashy stuff on here. Let me see. It's actually my first time directly posting, doing a live stream on YouTube. Um, and I just chose because it's a lot easier for me to use, a lot easier for me to manage. I post probably pretty frequent on here enough to where I just want to commit to if I'm doing a live stream, it's always going to be on our YouTube channel, B Cloud Engineers. Just going forward. I post everywhere else, of course, but when it comes to live stream, I'm only doing it here on YouTube for now, for a while actually. So y'all know how we get down. Tell us what you're drinking before you tell us what you're thinking. Welcome to Tech at Night. I'm gonna get into it. Let me just post everything everywhere. Let me get everything up and going. Put the title in here. That's what I'm gonna do. It's right. What are my notes? Handy dandy notes. All right. Let's see. Tech at Night. There we go. Okay. And then let me do this. All right. Check big. Um, So y'all know how to always get in touch with me and follow me. I mean, you should know anyway by now, but we're gonna get this cracking. Just a second, I'm almost done. Mm, That's that's what I'm looking for. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out. Yeah, get to it. I don't know who we got on live. Comment in the chat if you here, so I know you here. All right, pin that at the top. There we go. All right, we're gonna get that crack. All right, so did I post a live stream? Right? Did I post the right live stream? Let me see if it's the same link. It's not, but it's all good because we can edit. That's what editing is for. Yeah, buddy. Okay, let's delete that. There we go. That's what I'm looking for, baby. Okay. And let me go to LinkedIn and fix that. Yeet, yeet. Okay. You know, LinkedIn hate when you delete. They be cop blocking a little bit. Algorithms. All right, cool. And then I wonder if I can get Twitter. I wonder if I can get into my Twitter account from this. I always get into Twitter from let's see which account is gonna get me in. Like, that's not the account I'm looking for. Let me log out of this. I to get in my other account. Let me see if it's in my Sugar. Nope, not even here. I ain't bothering with that right now. We need to get this motion going. All right. All right. Let me see. Let me put one more thing in. Let me see if I can copy this straight from my. Oh, y'all like, yeah, I need to hurry up. 'Cause it's like 7, 8 minutes in. Need to get to it. But I just need to make sure folks can reach me. You feel me? Need to know that the people know that I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Folk want to talk. There we go. Okay. Still hear me right? Make sure I ain't messing nothing up. Copy this. I think I did it right. We're gonna see. Folks gonna get on, they're gonna get on. They're not gonna get on. They ain't gonna get on. Let's see. That's what happens when you don't have a production team. And you are the production team. On YouTube. Right. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Yeah. Well, okay, cool. I get to the video. All right. So, all right, what's going on, everybody? Cloud Tech Big Unc here, Demecos Chambers. And I know it's been a while. I know we haven't been cooking up on doing the tech at nights for a while. And just to be honest with you, I just been too busy. To be honest with you, and it's a whole. It takes a lot to set this stuff up. At least the way I was setting it up originally, just was a lot of work. Having to get lights and having to make sure I'm in this app and that app and making sure I edit the cover art. It was just it takes two that pre-production, then the post-production it takes to just the streams. It took way into, and I had so many other priorities that took precedent. If you hear, comment in the chat so I know you hear. First off, you already know how we get down. First off, you got to tell us what you're drinking before you tell us what you're thinking. All right. I got got some whiskey here that my aunt gave me from DR. I just popped it open tonight, so we're gonna see what it's hitting for while this live stream going on. All right. So again, I know what I've been posting. I've been giving you all reels, you know, but I haven't been doing the full stream. But I am going to really try to do more lives, especially now that boot camp, promoting boot camp and everything like that. It allows me to take more time to do live streams because when I'm in boot camp, I'm too occupied. I got work, I got business to run, I got this and that to my family, man. Plus, I got other responsibilities, life. You know what I'm saying? So, um, but I do enjoy these when I do get a chance to do these. Plus, it's like getting the right setup. It's a lot, bro. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's a lot. But we here, we popping tonight. We're gonna get it cracking tonight. It's been a lot going on in the industry. It's been a lot going on, a lot of outages, a lot going down, a lot of not in service. All right, we're gonna talk all about that. Plus, I'm gonna give you all the gems and the tools that you need to be successful in spite of the outages and how they can be opportunities for those of you who are already cloud tech professionals, as well as those of you who are newbies. So make sure y'all can hear me. I just needed some comments. We got to get some comments popping. Y'all know I'm very, I go off the crowd interaction. So comment in the chat if you can, just to let me know. Give me something in the chat so I know that you hear me. That my audio is at least coming through. All right. Let me know. Give me some love in the chat. Tell me what you're drinking. Tell me where you're checking in from. What city you checking in from. Somebody talk to me. Y'all listen. Y'all been crying about when you gonna do it live on. When you gonna go back live? When you gonna do? I'm here. You know what I'm saying? I know it's impromptu. I usually give y'all a heads up, but I ain't listen. I ain't got time to be doing all the pretty cover art for it. And I just told myself I'm gonna just get straight to it and figure the rest out along the way. But I'm just go straight to it. So we here tonight. I got the time y'all here. And plus, I've been on a lot. It's been a lot going on, bro. Like for real. But all right, so let's get into it though. I want to get into tonight's purpose. We're going to essentially talk about, as you see the title, why all these AWS and Azure outages, and why did they break? Why did the cloud break? Does this mean the cloud is broken for good? Does this mean the job opportunities going to be absorbed and sucked up, and a bleak future for those trying to get in the cloud? Does it mean what's happening, Mike? Mike, what's going on, my brother? Thank you. You wrapped the street, Mike. All right, all right, all right. What you sipping on tonight, though, Mike? What you sipping on? I need to take a sip of mine. How rude am I? Let me sip first. Mm. All right. But yeah. So, um, yeah, you all got many questions. Scissor. Okay. Okay. All right. Hopefully it's that pancake scissor. Yeah. Well, it's all good, bro. Uh, but yeah, so first for starters, let's start off. And let me try to put these here in the chat so I can even bookmark myself. So we're gonna say topic one. Let's see, what's causing these outages technically? What's causing these cloud outages? I'm gonna use it technically. Gonna bore y'all to death. But let's get into them. Like, what is it about, and why is it important? Why does it matter? Especially you as an aspiring person that's trying to get into tech, trying to get into cloud tech, or you even the cloud pro yourself. You're working there. You probably already know why it's important because you probably got the on call to get online at 12 in the morning. So essentially, this all started last week, 2 weeks ago. I take that back. Where essentially AWS region went out, went offline. AWS East US East region went offline. There's plenty white papers and all these talks and documents and vlogs on what on the technicalities of why. But just in a nutshell, to kind of wrap things up, the reason that AWS went offline is because they had a DynamoDB server. All right, that essentially these are AWS managed servers that went offline. It was an old server, and there was a faulty misconfig, well, a faulty configuration that happened to where it caused the whole entire data center to go down. It's a legacy data center in Amazon AWS, and it went down. Right now, okay, one data center goes down, but you have it's cloud. There's data centers all over the world, different regions, different availability zones. That's what they're for. When one falls down, they're supposed to be fault tolerant, where another one kicks in and takes its place. Oh, oh. Here's where things get spicy and tricky. Okay, now majority of it is AWS's fault. Let's be real. But half of it is also the corporation's the fault as well, which lies within the decision makers, B-level suite executives, and as well as the technical teams there fault as well. And we're gonna hop into both. But the reason no outages were caused because when this legacy DynamoDB server that hosts millions of applications, and we're talking about millions of applications that are transacting with this DynamoDB server per minute. All right. That means they're constantly feeding information in and out these DynamoDB servers. Well, when the server went offline temporarily, right? Went down. All right. When that goes down, the reason it's significant is because due to how the DNS is set up, all of your websites, right? When you're trying to ping a website, and it's not even just you personally, it can be like a processor in the background that processes credit card transactions or processes registering users for a video game or registers users for a TV subscription, whatever, right? Application or person, human or machine. What happens if they live on the cloud server, right? If their system is set up whereas existing on a cloud server, right? The underlying of that is this DynamoDB server. So when that goes down and it's trying to essentially it has an IP address, right? It says ding that server that person or that machine that's trying to access that DynamoDB because remember it has to transact with that DB server because it has all their information in there, customer data, all type of things to complete the transaction so that you can have your stream show so that you can have your make the purchase that you want or something online so that you can play your video game so that everything is all your apps are functioning. They all have transactions, right? And those transactions are associated with some type of IP address, right? Well, so it's knocking on the door of that DynamoDB server, say, "Hey, I got the IP address. Just give me the name so I can take it back to my owner." Again, members, whatever app that's running, take it back to my owner and say that, "Hey, we're here, we have access to, our DynamoDB server, we can, handle our business, continue business as usual." Well, that DynamoDB server went offline. It was nothing for another one to kick in. The problem was you have millions of these requests coming in per minute. So you got a million people trying to get through one door per minute. And just imagine that door changed location. You don't know where it's at. So that location of where those IPs could easily get the name resolution to go report back to its master, right? The app itself, everything worked fine. But when it can't, when it's just holding the IP, it can't return anything. So now you have it's stuck in this loop, right? And it's not only stuck in this loop of it can't identify where this IP belongs, what name, it doesn't know where to get the name because DynamoDB's how their DNS was set up, it changed its IP, right? So again, you can look into deep dives on different YouTube channels. Lots of brilliant bloggers out there, vloggers out there, tech guys out there, tech gals out there, talking about this, and find out more detail into information. Get as granular as you want. But so when this, remember AWS, if you know anything about the shared responsibility model, especially if you're an architect, especially working security, cloud security, you should know that AWS is responsible for all architecture, all the infrastructure below, at the bare metal below. That means they're responsible for everything that hosts all of your infrastructure. The servers, the servers, the networking capabilities, the cables, the firmware, the updates to those servers, etc. All that underlying infrastructure that supports your infrastructure. Because remember, you're essentially renting out their databases. They control all how their databases, the functionality of their databases. The only thing you're responsible for is what you put on those databases. All right. So so that went down, right? So AWS failed you in that way because they didn't provide a redundant enough setup to where you can easily get back to business. Now, let's keep it in mind. Let's keep it real. This happened at like 1 or 2 in the morning Eastern time. Most of y'all was asleep anyway. Most of y'all didn't see it happen. However, you did deal with the effects because just imagine all of your apps having to, when you have a Wi-Fi router in your house, let's say your Wi-Fi router's name changed all of a sudden. Now your TV, your phone, your tablet, your computer, this app, this your refrigerator, your toaster, whatever's connected to that Wi-Fi. Now you have to plug in the new name for it. That's essentially the aftermath of what happened, but for nearly half of the world, all right, that has a system or application running on it. Okay. So and the reason it was so disastrous as well was because Amazon owns about 37% of the cloud market. Again, I can go in a deeper dive with that tech, but I don't want to bore you all with those details. I'm just trying to paint the picture of how severe this is and how the responsibility is even shared between the cloud provider AWS itself, as well as the customers themselves who use the environment or misuse. Which is my next point. Let me get to these comments. Let me see what's cracking. Infrastructure compatibilities. Okay. Welcome back, Sprite tonight. Sprite Zero. Okay, mix that. Come on. 225, girl. I know it's been a minute, baby. I know, man. I promise y'all. I really do love doing these lives when we get to the lives. I just hate the pre-production part, yo. It takes so much time to have to prepare for these shows. Like I got to get my knowledge base ready. I got to get my energy ready. I got to make sure I ain't got nothing planned for the evening. I got to set aside time spending time with the wife. Like it's a lot. Then the editing, the artwork, and I cried about that at the first 10 minutes of this vid. So the first 10 minutes of this vid is me just setting up everything. So anyway, but I promise you, I gotta do more of these because boot camp is coming up, and this is the best way that I know to promote my boot camp, as well as be able to talk to you. This is like the most, it's ironic because I got to promote camp, but it's also the most opportune time I have to talk to you all in the evenings is when I'm promoting camp. Because when camp is on, I definitely ain't got the time. So, and when I'm preparing for camp, I don't have the time. But camp is laid out. We got our architects there, who are also gonna be our mentors. We got everything laid out. We just ready for y'all to enroll. But anyway, enough about. We'll talk about that later. But he said, did you have to get a call in the hell? So I didn't personally. So, and that's the thing. So if I was working like cloud support as I was in the past, even if I was doing more of I was in an architectural role for actual organization, then yeah, I likely would have easily gotten that call. And they would have thought it was they would have thought it was something we did. We would have thought it was something we did. Somebody, put a bad bug and did a push to production, or somebody misconfigured something, we would have, but no, I mostly I do consulting these days. So I'm not even doing any type these days. I'm not even doing any type of my hands aren't in the keyboard anymore these days. Doing any configurations or coding or programming or scripting. not often these days, especially in this role. It's more so I'm more brought in as a consultant. So I'm helping departments and organizations, and their as far as dealing with their technical leads, their IT project managers, their solutions architects, helping them configure, diagrams in order to, set up cloud infrastructure across multiple cloud platforms. So that's what I'm in that consultant role now. I'm not in more so on the hands on the keyboard as I was a few years ago, but so no, I didn't have to get called in. As I say, I to say I ain't get called in. So and thankfully. But so and that points me to this next problem of why this is the issue. A lot of this is on the fault of organizations as well. So, as you all know, I've done a lot. I have a lot of cloud experience. I've been doing this for about 8+ years, and I've dealt with a lot of organizations. And what I've seen most commonly is most organizations. I've not come across an organization, maybe just one, except with the exception of one. Everybody builds out of U.S. East region. Like that's where they start at, and that's fine because that's how AWS markets it. They make it easy. That's where AWS started at. So cool. The problem is they never modernize their infrastructure setup, and they leave their critical systems and critical infrastructure only operating out of US East 1. Now, if they might even have DR set up, right? Might even have multi-region DR set up or availability zones different setup. Cool, cool, cool. But if your most critical business applications are only still reliant on just one region, big problem. Now, the bigger problem it is, and like failure is a lesson, and which I'm gonna get into my then topic number two of all this of what's next. What are companies and organizations going to do next? It's funny because when I made a TikTok about this last week, a video about this about what companies are going to do. It's funny. I literally was just watching a video with on David David no, David Pet Patrick David Value Entertainment. That's the name of their YouTube their company. Anyway, uh, they had this guy on. I forgot this David Paluto or something like that, but we got his guy in there. But he talked on something that I'm going to share in the next topic of this Tech at Night that is going to be uh it's gonna be important. It's gonna show truth to power of what I'm saying because I study the trends. I'm not just an architect or a guy who does this stuff technically and can be able to deploy Terraform code and set up CI/CD pipelines and all that. No, 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 just all that. I study the actual business of this. I deal with a lot of business executives. Um, I look at the money, where the money is flowing, the markets. I invest myself, in the market. So I look at a lot of trend. I look at this thing holistically as I possibly can to see where things are moving, how they're moving, so that they can benefit you. All right. So that you're well prepared for the opportunities down the pipeline and where to go to be able to receive them. So so let me before I move on to that, but let me talk about this. So most companies and organizations who are using AWS cloud platform set up their business critical systems to only be relying out of the East region. Big fault, big problem. Your business critical systems need to be one divided up among based upon your consumer population. If most of your consumers are or in the middle Midwest, then your stuff needs to be in Ohio anyway. Your critical stuff, and then your critical stuff needs to be broken down. Maybe you don't need to have your certain app tiers, all your app tiers only out of US East. Break them down. Some in the West, some in the Midwest. Some in Arizona, what have you. If you're global, same thing with EU. Break it down. Something. Same thing with China's. China's environment, region. Same thing. So you have to break. And then, most importantly, though, the DNS. You need to have, especially as a disaster recovery architect, myself. You have to. One of the things I look at, especially going to organization that most of them never have, is DNS failover, like DNS. Disaster recovery, not just fell over where, well, I'm going to have my Route 53 set up and put it on different elastic load balancers. And therefore, if one health check fails, it fails over to the other. DR. Da-da-ding. No, Because what happens if AWS like all these every technology will fail. Not even just a cloud platform on premise. They've all fallen before it because that's what tech does. It breaks. Their machines. They break all the time. That's what they're it's a part of the nature of the beast. I know I'm boring y'all with a lot of. I promise I did not want to make this a technical video at all. I didn't want to spend that this much time talking about technical, but I have to talk about the importance of it all and make sure that the information is out there so that those who are solutions architects and those who are business executives know how to better anticipate these things. And those of you coming up, in the ranks from as whether you're a newbie or you're a cloud engineer or cloud DevOps pro, and you eventually one day want to become a manager, you want to become a director, you want to become a architect yourself or consultant, so that you know how to look for these things and look at these things as well holistically. You need to have a DNS. You need to have a DNS set up from the top level of the DNS provider that you're using, not just use the cloud platform. You need to have a DNS, whether it's a Cloudflare, whether it's there's multiple others. I don't know them all at the top of my head, but whatever the different type of DNS providers are that aren't cloud platform specific, you need to utilize those as well. All right. And you can set up failover to where they're failing over to a different type of DNS provider. You need to have at least two DNS providers is what I'm saying. And even if you're using like Azure, DNS or using Route 53 in AWS or using Google's DNS, that's fine. But you need to have it needs to be multiple DNS providers that your whole entire DNS needs to be set up on, so that when one platform fails, you're able to easily boot up your pilot uh, um, business critical systems on another cloud platform just like that. All right. So then there's always going to be downtime. You're not getting around that, but you can always marginalize the damage effect of loss of data and always the time of recovery. So that's that. All right. That's something to think about. So enough with the technical stuff. All right. Because I know a lot of people that tune in to me, they are not even there yet. That's not most of your responsibilities, but it's just something to think about. Somebody may come across this video and who are in those positions, they just need to think about it. And plus, if you present these type of solutions to your upper management or whatever, it may be a boost to your career of recognition that, oh wow, this person, is thinking like a real architect that can anticipate problems and solve them. But anyway. 225 girl said I use ES1 because of the region I'm in. So forward, I need to switch it. Yes, yes, you absolutely do. Yes, switch up your business critical systems. Again, business critical systems. You can always most organizations do set up DR for non-production systems, but it's the production systems that most people are just leaving them running in US East region. We rely on one region for far too long. I get it. It's the origin of AWS. It's promoted the most, is easiest to use, is most accessible to most people. But no, you got to break it up. All right. So which goes into my next topic. Let me know if y'all ready for topic number two. Let me get some tools in the chat. Let me get some tools in the chat. The number two. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Topic two. Go. Topic two. All right. What are companies going to do next? Are they going to abandon the cloud? All right. They're going to fire their whole cloud team. All right. Are they going to get rid of their hybrid models and go back to prem? The answer is a big fat no. No, 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 no. All right. So, in fact, so this goes back to what I said earlier in our conversation, where I made a TikTok where I essentially said companies aren't going to divert to the cloud. What you're going to see is companies start to look more into diversifying their portfolio, which brings up is something even more interesting. So, as I mentioned, I said that they're going to diversify their portfolio, if anything, of what they're going to do, and that's what you're going to start to see. And so the guy who was on David Pet Pet Bet David. I can't get David's name right, but Pet David Value Entertainment. Big YouTube channel, big guy. Like I appreciate a lot of his content he puts out, even though he politically we I don't really see eye to eye, but he had some good guests on. He had some really inquisitive questions, and one of the guests he had on most recently was talking about let me get David's name right because they might want to have me on the show run, at some point, and I need to be have put more respect on his name. Crap, I'm not gonna be able to put respect on his name because his name showed it, but it's Value Entertainment anyway. What's his name? Bill Pollute. All right, so Bill Pollute is a guy that they had on essentially. He was a representative for Fannie and Mac. The housing mortgage company, Fannie. Am I saying it right? Fannie and Mac, Mac and Fannie, Fannie and. Let me see. Is it Mac and Fannie? Dang, that alcohol's starting to get to me. Fannie, Fannie, and Fannie Mae. No, Fannie Mae. Oh, it is Fannie Mae. Fannie Mac. No, it's Fannie Mae. Y'all talking some Fannie Mac. I'm talking Freddie Mac. All right, Fannie Mae, yeah. So they had Pollute on from Bill Pollute on from Fannie Mae. He's representing Fannie Mae, and he essentially said that with that because Pat David essentially asked him. He said, "Well, are you going to now? What are you going to do about the cloud? Are you all going to get off of AWS now? Because they were essentially saying, look." AWS, he said Fannie Mae, AWS handles 100% of their business. Their 100% of their infrastructure is on AWS. And so, well, AWS is the only cloud provider that they utilize. And AWS is handling billions of their dollars and billions of their transactions that they do on a monthly basis. Is all going through their cloud platform, going through their cloud infrastructure on AWS's platform. So one, that's a lot of money. All right, that's just one mortgage company and based out of America. Okay, just America. So that tells you the type of business that's being handled with AWS. And I'm trying to speak to you all about the power of cloud that I feel that most people still undermine as far as the opportunities out there for you and why there's going to be continue you're going to see so many job opportunities come out of this, which I'm gonna keep harping it on. But here we go. So he said that essentially they have billions running. He said, if anything, they're going to look into diversifying more, but they plan to still stay in the cloud and they plan to still stay primarily with AWS. Like they don't want to because it takes if a one organization has been with you for years and at least for the last 2 years everything's been clean, haven't had outages, whatever, and you're handling billions of transactions for them that's leading them to allow them to have billions of dollars in sales annually every year. You think you're going to take that as an executive? You're going to take that to your board as a good reason to take a risk to move that to a different cloud platform that's not tried and true as the old faithful one that's been doing you just for the last two, three, several years? Nah, it's not gonna fly. They're gonna tell you no. They're gonna tell you get out here, and they might question your aptitude. All right. So, but you will see those companies their tech teams may start to break up pieces of their services that they offer and put it on different cloud platforms and do more tests with DR. That's what you're also going to see. Hopefully, most companies don't test their DR methods. They just have art come in, set everything up, and leave it. So be it, and trust that it's going to work. They might test it the first time to make sure everything works. But after they do their first initial test run, there's no annually, quarterly run of that DR test, such as there are like with cybersecurity metrics that are often frequently have to be tested due to compliances. There's not too much compliance around disaster recovery. That aside from though, because all they're trying to do is fit the compliance that you have a disaster recovery method, not that it works and not that it's efficient and not that it's tested quarterly. Ah, so, so I sit out all they said, what are companies going to do next? So that's there. So what they're also going to do is they're going to test more. They're going to diverse more, but they're going to stay in the cloud. But what you're also going to see, you're going to start to see Oracle's going to start to make a more aggressive, take a more aggressive chunk into the cloud market. Because I think Oracle has like less than 15, less than 19%. No, yeah, less than 15% of the cloud market right now. Even though they just got OpenAI, they just did a grand partnership with Azure. You're going to see Azure try to creep up in that consumer market of the cloud, um, on that B2B market of the cloud, because the companies and people worldwide are starting to see we have too few cloud providers globally who can provide cloud services at an infrastructural level, at a um, at a I was gonna say at an empire level, hilarious, at a corporate level. At scale. You're going too few cloud companies can do that. So you're going to start to see organizations like Oracle creep in. And you may even see some others come out the blue, maybe even like Disney or somebody come out the blue and start offering cloud services, because we need to diversify of cloud platforms to be able to provide more competitive services. And to be honest with you, just to be just more efficiency. Because just being honest with you, you really kind of it's better off that you have specialized regions, cloud platforms that are specialized in certain regions versus one conglomerate or a few conglomerate cloud platforms that are taking over the whole thing, and they're just there by nature. They're not specialized in the east area because they know that region well. They know and they're just able to, because when you're smaller you're able to focus more on the details. There's no shot at AWS or Azure or even Google Cloud, but this is just the reality of how is going to how business is going to evolve. All right. Plus, you already seen it with Core Reaver trying to get into the cloud market with covering cloud, AI cloud, right? So you're going to see more of those niche services, cloud service companies try to make their way in the market to get more in the market. Hey, what's happening, Dalton? Baby, what's going on? But hey, I was just in H Town, man, just a couple of weeks ago, man. I should have hit you up. But I don't know how close or far you are away in Texas, because I know Texas. I mean, Houston, because I know Texas is huge. Said, miss these loud ones always happening during my kickboxing class. You ain't doing nothing but getting your ass beat anyway. It's all good, brother. We here, man. You and plus you always got to play back. So, but what you drinking right now? Now you are kickboxing class. I hope you ain't up there getting too toe up. You know what I'm saying? But baby, got have you a nice little Powerade, little Gatorade, you know, something like that. But here we on grown folk stuff tonight. Um, but hey, welcome back, man. I guess welcome me back. Hey, you see me, Perry? Come on. I'm gonna represent now. I'm a tried and true. This is why I can never run for politics. This is why I can never be in politics. This right here. Listen. It's a part of the culture, baby. This is how I grew up. This is part of the city. This is just what we do. This is home. Everybody talking about MC and MC this, Magic City this, and Magic City is great and da 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 da. Nah, man. Home. This is home. This is real home. If you ever come to the city, you know. So all my tech folks that come to the city, you want to have a good time, you want to support the entrepreneurs of the evening, and come and get some phenomenal wings, some fire wings, and see some real, entrepreneur talent of the evening. Hey, hit your boy up, hit the flame, go through the flame. Tell them Cloud Tech Big Unc sent you. All right. And no, that's not a promo. I've been I've been going there forever. So I support my folk. So, all right. He said, "Hey, oh, you drinking that water? All right, cool. All right, so we're gonna get back to the point. All right, so back on subject. Lock in, lock in. All right, so that's what you're gonna see. And I want to raise this little point. Should I do it now or a topic later? I want to raise this point. I'm gonna put a little pin of the point here, and then say the rest for later. If you're studying, if you're where there's VMware, whether it's Core Reaver, whether it's Salesforce, even whoever the other alternate cloud service provider that you're dealing with right now on your daily basis on your current job role, or that you've been studying because you got free training for their platform, become a SME in that platform. Study to become an expert. I'm not going to say SME because that's all the way at the top, but become a cloud expert in that platform first. because there's plenty of opportunities out there for all these cloud platforms, all these platforms that host specialize in different type of servers. I'm telling you, they're coming. They're coming for AWS's market. They're coming for the cloud. You're going to see this cloud market start to really uh, divide in ways where there's it's more competitive, which is going to be good for everybody. All right, because not everybody is going to be able to. Not everybody should just be bow down to the big three, the big four. You know, um, you may even see Facebook make some moves, like it's Meta make some moves, but just whatever cloud platform or data center platform that you're using right now, that you're studying right now, uh, become an expert in that field. Get certified in that whatever that realm is. Again, Core Reaver, Salesforce, VMware, especially whomever, Veeam, whoever. Become an expert in utilizing that software service and implementing it for organizations first. And then boom, hit the market and start capitalizing on opportunities. Because I promise you, 9 times out of 10, there's somebody hiring for that type of engineer, tech engineer to come in with those credentials from that particular platform service, and they're willing to pay you well for it. And you can also not only work there as an engineer, but you can do consulting on the side as well, helping other organizations on board with that platform. So keep that in mind. Put that. I want to put that out there. I hit up Atlanta. Come on, man. Come through, man. I got you, baby. We're gonna have a great time. Um, just make sure you bring something to drink. You know what I'm saying? Don't come empty handed now. Come on now. But yeah, yeah. So all right. So are we ready for topic number three? Give me a number three in the chat. We're ready for topic number three. We so far we're gonna have about two more topics, and then I'm gonna get to the Q&A. Let's see. Topic three. Give me a three in the chat if you're ready for topic number three. We're gonna do two more. Actually, one more. One. Yeah, this is gonna be the last topic, then Q&A, because I can combine this into one subject. Let's see. We're playing OT, ICS, and cloud security. Hmm. That's interesting. Okay. 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 I like that though. Cloud security is not a bad place at all. I don't know what OT is and ICS. I'm not sure what ICS really means too, but we'll find out. All right. Topic number three. Here we go. All right. So now, what does all this mean, Demikos? What Cloud Tech Big on? What does this mean for me? Like, how am I gonna eat off of this? Since all right, we get it. The region went down. It was an important region for Visa and Mastercard, and practically every service that I use and everything that I use. Okay, we get that. These companies and organizations ain't gonna move off of the cloud. They're gonna just diversify some and just be test their DR more frequently. Okay, we get it. They get it. It's the nature of the business. Okay, so what does that mean for me? Whether you're a cloud pro or you're a newbie trying to get in the cloud, this means your opportunity just grew. All right. The importance of your job just grew. The value of your job, the number just grew. All right. Because organizations, when this outage happened, that impacted the daily consumer who knows nothing about a cloud. They don't even know all of their apps and services are running off cloud services, but they learned today. Well, last week and this week and tonight because Azure went out as well, which also went out because of DNS issues. So that let me say this most first and foremost, all of you, and this is why when you sign up for boot camp, I send like a preliminary training that you can take on prior to boot camp because I know y'all want to get your hands busy and stuff and be well prepared. Networking is king. Nothing works without networking. All right. You need to learn the fundamentals of networking. That's why you need to take go on YouTube University and take on the Net Plus certification. Even if you don't get the Net Plus cert or try to get it, you just going through the course exam and it's free. It's only like 2 hours. of understanding the fundamentals of networking is key. Too many engineers and architects are working in this industry and don't understand networking well, don't understand protocols well, they don't understand DNS well, they don't understand load balancers well, what have you. And this is what leads to a litany of these issues and the lack of ability for organizations and companies to be able to practice good DNS DR management or good infrastructural DR methods, having more than than one single point of failure because their teams aren't that skilled when it comes to networking. So for you network engineers, and the thing about it is networking engineers aren't really that ambitious type of people, which irritate me because I'm like, you can make the most money out of this out of everybody. But and neither here or there. Networking is king. So if you're coming up in this industry, before you learn anything else, go get some networking fundamentals so you can understand different protocols. What's the difference between a TCP protocol versus a HTTPS protocol? What is a port 20, port 80, port 489? Just so you, how does what's a C name record, a name record? So you need to learn how does a DNS resolver, how does a resolver server work? Um, these are all fundamentals that don't change over time. Like networking fundamentally hasn't. Now, there's been an introduction to IPv6, of course, but for at least the past 25, 30 years, networking essentially hasn't changed. Aside from like, again cables and the introduction of IPv6, but it's fundamentally been the same thing. So it's one of those things. Once you learn it, you can know it, like you know it pretty well. And the more you do it, like the more you can, it makes doing your job easier as the cloud engineer, cloud DevOps, cloud security, whatever your cloud engineering role is, or cloud architectural role is, it just helps make your job that much more efficiently because you understand the networking nuances of it all. All right. But cloud doesn't work without computing doesn't work without networking. All right. Otherwise, you'll just have one computer and none of them communicate with each other. So that's first and foremost, networking that path. But also, what this also means is those of you who are studying, if you're going to don't fall into the trap of becoming a generalist. And by generalist meaning you're trying to hop on each and every study material that come out there. Like you're trying to learn AI, you're trying to learn Terraform, you're trying to learn cloud security. Like you're trying to do all these courses and all these camps and all these college courses and cybersecurity, this and that. Like stop going all over the place. Become an expert in something first. Trust me. When you specify in an area first, that grants you the opportunity to not only earn a lucrative income, in your current roles, but it gives you that flexibility due to the nature of the work and exposure to migrate more easily to different realms of tech that you want to work in. All right, because you become a SME in one. Let me stop saying SME. You become an expert in one. It allows you to be solid in this area and you're able to pick up more easily different technical areas, especially when it comes to cloud, especially when it comes to technology infrastructure in general. So um, if you're studying cloud security right now, stick to cloud security all the way through until you want to make a pivot to networking or you want to make a pivot to something else. Maybe you want to do architect work, maybe you want to be a network architect. Like you should go all the way through until you're either trying to become a architecture of that discipline, that cloud technology discipline, or you become some type of director. Well, I'm not gonna say director, but some type of manager or lead. I'll say lead, either a lead or architect in that cloud technology discipline. Now, as everybody knows with me, all my students, we start for cloud engineering because it's the core foundational skills of all cloud tech skills. It's fine to start off there because it's the core. You're doing everything and you need to learn as much as you can at the basis anyway. It's essentially, it helps you get into these cloud support roles, which you're going to get exposed to more until you find out the niche area you want to get into. But all I'm saying is don't start off trying to learn too many different things that aren't coherent because 9 times out of 10 you're going to land in a role where you're going to do more than what that cloud tech discipline role is description of it is listed out to be. All right. So if you're doing cloud security, you're gonna do some monitoring. All right, you're gonna do some monitorization. All right, you're gonna have to pay attention to costs. All right, you're gonna have to pay. You have to do some compliance. You have to do more than just configure. You know, um, chase the little more than just configure security groups and knuckles and chase packets, around the network. So so just so just keep those things in mind. If you're doing something right now, do it until you're good enough to be able to get to a role where you're a lead or an architect doing that. All right, that's what this is going to mean for you. So don't get rid of the days and the times where you're trying to spread yourself thin by learning everything because somebody said it was hot, and get hot at what your cloud technology discipline area is first. All right. Does that make sense to you? Am I making sense so far? Anyway, we're gonna start the Q&A real quick as well. I'm gonna hit one more point, but I want y'all to get the questions rolling. What are your cloud tech career questions? It's been a minute since I've been here with y'all, so I know y'all hot for questions. So put your questions in the chat too, and I'm gonna answer those. But yeah, so I see too many. Again, these are for newbies and cloud pros because many newbies think cloud pros know exactly what they're doing and know where they're going and think that they've made it. No, you really, as a cloud professional, you really don't find your footing until like your third or fourth year because you're still just as green eyed and bushy tailed, um, and you don't know which way is up and you don't know where it's going to go. You're likely still only in your first tech role, any cloud tech role anyway. So, um, and again, most engineers and most tech people aren't really they're studious when it comes to technical implementation, or they can be, but they're not as studious when it comes to treating their cloud tech career as a business that it is, as a startup as it is. All right, because there's so many ways for you to capitalize off your skill set rather than tying yourself to just one employer or one organization and thinking that's where you're supposed to be until they fire you or lay you off. You know, use your understanding that your talent is keeping the most critical of systems globally, both within the government, outside of the government, private sector. The resources that your grandma uses and relies on. Your skills are keeping those things running. That's how important and valuable your skills are. So you be playing yourself by not capitalizing on those skills. But and that's me directly speaking to cloud pros because I know again, especially those who are within that 3 to 4 year tenure, still stuck. So, all right, let's get to the Q and A's. Let's get it cracking. Let's see. Winnie, Winnie, because I'm hungry. I didn't go spend time with the old lady and watch our shows and finish drinking. Dang, I only had like a few sips, and I didn't even really get told, which I like. I plan to do. Mm, mm. But yeah, so don't think that these outages. Don't let them scare you because trust me, the organizations that have infrastructure running on these cloud platforms, the executives themselves, they're only terrified when the stuff's not running. They're not intimidated by a loss. A loss of service, temporarily loss of service. Let me emphasize that temporarily loss of service. The middle managers care about that because it affects their metrics. But executives and such, they know that comes with the nature of business. It's loss of service, and they know that they invested. The Fannie Mac guy made a joke. He was like, "Yeah, we're pregnant off of cloud. Like all of our whole investment is in." And that's another thing I made a video on as well. Some people say, "Are we too reliant on cloud?" And especially the on-premise guys. On-premise guys, annoying because they don't. A lot of them, unfortunately, not all of them, not even. I don't think I'm not even gonna say most of them, but too many of them, especially the older vets, they just have this pessimistic view about tech and they're looking for any excuse to roll back things to on premise. I'm here to tell you the way if you watch companies, you watch how organizations work, they are trying to do anything but spend more money to make less money. They're not rolling back nothing to no on-prem, not a large corporation like Fannie Mac. Now, excuse me, Fannie Mae. Now, what you may see is some repatriation from organizations that are a lot smaller. Maybe they have like 50 employees or less. They might scale off a cloud. They might do a on-prem, or they might do a more of a hybrid model. But that's that's to come with. There's always going to be attrition in any business. But the conglomerates, the ones that has all the money and has the affordability to pay you, they're not, because it's too much of a risk that comes back with moving things back on premise. They got off premise for a reason. They don't want the responsibility of managing their own data center. Their tech teams can't handle it. Their it's the latency of it, of their customers or their organization users being able to access their data uh, regionally, let alone globally, uh, that latency is too much of a cost for their business that they don't want to take on. Plus, they don't want to host these things on prem anymore because you got to protect it, you got to secure it, you got to nurture it, you got to time it, you got to order more racks. And so, also, what you're starting to see is data center pop-ups where they're like offering a premium suite cloud environment data center for companies that are kind of halfway between dedicating themselves to the cloud hybrid model, want to scale back from the cloud, and they offer it's all still somebody else's data center at the end of the day. Um, but you gotta keep in mind all this stuff runs hot. All right. This stuff is big for a reason. Like it consumes a lot of resources. So it's a lot of responsibility with hosting your own data center. Again, like a smaller organization that has 50 to 25 employees, it would be nothing. It wouldn't be. It would be nothing for them to scale back from the cloud. But someone with 1,000 more employees, that means they're doing at least a million or plus, uh, a month or at least a week involved business through their infrastructure. They're not rolling that back. And the reason they got into the cloud is so that their customers and consumers and that their team members can have access to their environment globally, anywhere in the world. Because now we're getting in the global world. Ever since C-19 happened and people got closed in their house, people immediately soon everything started opening up, started traveling more, and streaming more from around the world. The demand grew for it. The global appetite of services grew. The demand for it grew. So therefore, organizations, it was a no-brainer that they got into the cloud because they're like, oh yeah, we could still be able to sell our product and services to somebody living in Mexico at the same time of someone living in Texas. Oh, well, let me say in Mexico at the same time as someone living in Japan or Singapore. And Singapore has is like top 10 when it comes to most millionaires in the city in the world. You think they're gonna miss out on that business just to roll back because of a little outage? Nah, and as I spoke about before, and I'll make another video on this later on about the advance of what's to come will be space technology and quantum technology. That's going to be a game changer. Technology going to change everything. But the next phase of cloud technology will be space technology. We're going to have to move our cloud data centers from on land to space. That's going to be interesting. China's already experimenting with that. They already tried. They already got a data center up in the air, and they're currently building that phased out and testing it. And I'm sure the U.S. we're going to be next on that, and Russia and all the other countries. So um, but again, that's to come. That's later down the pipeline. But right now, cloud is where it's at, still hot. In fact, even with the outage, the friend of mine, shout out to my boy, I had him on his channel too. Uh, David Riddick. Um, he's a cloud advocate. He posted in his stories, and this was literally like a day or two after AWS outage. It was 7,000 cloud jobs. 7,000 cloud jobs that got posted. New cloud jobs that got posted in 24 hours. But if you don't do your training, if you haven't done your training, if you haven't gotten your certs, you haven't done your projects, you weren't prepared for the opportunity. But this is why you train and get your certs and everything, so you're prepared for when these opportunities hit. Because we're gonna have more moments of these next year. All right, there's gonna be a hot hiring market Q1, a really hot hiring market Q1. There was a hot hiring market just for Q4, for the month of October. So um, yeah, that's what you need to be prepared for. Um, Let me talk a little bit about boot camp before I get up out of here. Since y'all ain't got no questions, y'all want to talk to me no more tonight. I don't wore y'all out. So we got boot camp coming up. Boot camp is going to be it's going to start January 2nd and end. I'm sorry, January 5th, because I'm gonna give y'all a week to sober up. I'm gonna need a week to sober up. And then it's going to end February 2nd. So enrollment starts now. It's open now. And you should see it pinned at the top of the comments, the link to it. Yeah. Mm, mm, no, no. Okay, let me put it in. As well, it's going when this video is posted, it's definitely going to be in the description. But yeah, we got camp. This is for beginners. This is newbie friendly. Now, just because it's newly friendly doesn't mean it's gonna be easy. And just because you aren't a newbie in tech, or you aren't even if you're even in cloud, if you want to get that 2 year, 2 to 3 years of training experience, cloud engineer training experience, our boot camp is where it's at. If you want to make that next step to getting that next cloud role, getting that next lucrative cloud role, getting your first tech role, our boot camp is where it's at. All right. It's You got only not only myself in there, but you're gonna have we got a cloud security architect in there as well, Ryan Wright. We also got a networking guy in there. You guys do some networking. Go ahead. You're gonna have a networking mentor in there as well. That's gonna teach you all about the protocols, the importance of setting up your cloud infrastructure, network and posturing, and what everything means as far as the networking components of your project that you'll be doing building in the cloud. We do primarily use the AWS cloud platform, but however, like I've shared showcased before, many of our students don't go on to only be experts in AWS. They go on to be experts in Google Cloud, Azure Cloud. And just because you're studying as a cloud engineer doesn't mean your first tech role is going to be a cloud engineer. Many of our students go on to get their first tech role in support as a support role, or they go on to even become cybersecurity not architects, but cybersecurity engineers. So um, but again, like I tell you, everything out of cloud, the basis of all cloud discipline starts with cloud engineering. So that's our focus. And then of course we got Tiffany there, who's our resume architect. She's gonna get your resume right, your LinkedIn professionally done and updated, and we're gonna teach you how to job hunt. All right. I think I'm gonna have one more surprise mentor. I'm kind of working that through right now. I'm gonna figure that out sooner than later. But this is gonna be a loaded boot camp, and we're gonna have a lot. And we only, what I noticed, we only do this boot camp once a year. It's crazy because I just don't have the time, and it takes a lot of energy, and I put a lot of focus into the students. Like even post boot camp, like I follow my students, I check in on them. They ask me questions, they need help. It's like that forever mentorship that happens post boot camp. Because I just put that level. I decided to put that level of care and quality into it. So yeah, I only offer the camp once a year, and then I do it in the summer, but it's just for teenagers. But yeah, for the adults and everybody else, camp starts soon. So make sure you enroll and sign up. Did I put it in the bottom of the chat? Yeah, I put it in the bottom. So share that with somebody who looking for tech training, break into their first tech role. Don't have to be super savvy, tech savvy at all. You can have never opened up a terminal before, typed a piece of code, hello world, Python before, and none of that. It's all friendly. It starts off very, very junior, and then we ramp up and get, very efficient to where we're thinking like cloud architects, but building like cloud engineers who have 2 to 3 years of experience. So all right, that's all I got for y'all tonight. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna do this again next week. I'm likely gonna do this again either next Monday or next Tuesday, same time, 7:30, 8. There's not gonna be a whole bunch of promotion like I used to always do. It's not gonna be beautiful cover art and all that. It's just gonna be me straight talking to y'all and another another fly fit, you know what I'm saying? I had to represent today, but and something else to drink, and a white background, you know. But subscribe to the channel. Also, if you're somebody who just wants to you work alone, you don't want to join boot camp, you just want to work in silo, you can download my blueprint as well. So I'm available on the website, which is also bcloud bcloudengineers.live is also at the pinged at the top of the chat, and it should be somewhere in the description. And then, of course, if you want to have a one-on-one, you want to talk to Cloud Tech Big On, and you want to talk just more about your career options, where you're at, how do you get unstuck, how do you hit that next gear in your career, reach out to me. We do one-on-one consultations as well. I do a lot of those. You can sign up for that as well, and then I got all kind of resources for you. So, um, yeah, continue to reach out, man. I love all the messages I get on LinkedIn. Y'all folks who just, you like a lot of what I'm saying, you're responding to it well. You just want to show love, you just want to show support, and sometimes you might just need a little advice. Um, and Instagram, those follow me who ping me on Instagram too. Just area where y'all follow me, man. I really support this. Appreciate the love. Because sometimes you do this so much and you put out so much content, so many things, you don't really know what's sticking or what's resonating with the people or what's not. So it's always good to get feedback from y'all if it's working, if it's checking in. I think the next week I'm gonna focus on I don't know what the topic's gonna be yet, but I know one of these lives I need to talk about these HVAC folks and electricians who need to take advantage of these data center opportunities because it's crazy that y'all are missing out on this much money and opportunity. But that's another conversation. All right. Cloud Tech Big On Care. Remember, you had what it took the entire time. Subscribe to the channel and share this with somebody you love. All right, y'all. I'm out. Now, how do I exit this? All right, let me see. Oh, yeah. Do I just close it? Let's see. What does the edit button do? That's not it. No. Dashboard. No. How do I end the live? I don't know how to end this, y'all. Y'all gotta help me. Oh, big old end string button. All right.